The pink and gold balloons bobbed cheerfully against the ceiling as Destiny Washington opened another gift, her radiant smile lighting up the room full of friends and family. At 7 months pregnant, she glowed with maternal joy, her hands resting protectively over her rounded belly as she held up a tiny yellow onesie. "Thank you so much, Aunt Beverly," she said warmly, adding the outfit to the growing pile of baby clothes beside her chair. The doorbell rang, cutting through the laughter and chatter. Destiny's younger sister Tiffany went to answer it, expecting more guests for the baby shower. Instead, 2 police officers stood on the porch, their expressions serious. "We're looking for Destiny Washington," the taller officer said. Tiffany's smile faded. "She's inside." "What's this about?" The officers pushed past her, entering the living room where the baby shower was in full swing. The room fell silent as everyone stared at the uniformed men. "Destiny Washington?" the officer asked, looking directly at her. Destiny struggled to stand, her pregnancy making the movement awkward. "Yes, that's me. Is everything okay? You're under arrest for theft. You have the right to remain silent." Gasps echoed through the room. Destiny's mother, Pearl, jumped up from her seat. "There must be some mistake." "No mistake, ma'am." Her husband Robert Washington filed a report. She allegedly stole $250 from their joint bank account without permission. Destiny's face drained of color. "Robert did this? But that's our money. I'm his wife." The officer approached with handcuffs. "Please turn around, ma'am. She's 7 months pregnant." Tiffany shouted. "You can't be serious." "We have our orders," the officer replied, though he looked uncomfortable as he gently placed the handcuffs on Destiny's wrists, keeping them loose. Tears streamed down Destiny's face as she was led through her own baby shower, past the cake with tiny booties made of frosting, past the pile of gifts she'd never finish opening, past the shocked faces of everyone she loved. Her cousin Angela was already recording on her phone, hands shaking with anger. "This is insane. She's pregnant." "Please," Destiny begged as they guided her toward the door. "Let me at least call Robert. This is a misunderstanding." "You can make your phone call from the station," the officer said, though his voice had softened. Pearl grabbed her purse, her face set with determination. "I'm following right behind you, baby. We'll sort this out." The last thing Destiny saw before the police car door closed was her baby shower banner still hanging cheerfully across the living room. "Welcome, little one." The drive to the station felt endless. Destiny's mind raced, trying to understand what was happening. Yes, she'd taken $250 from their joint account, but it was for groceries and baby supplies. She'd done it countless times before. Robert had never said a word. At the station, they processed her like any other criminal. Fingerprints. Mugshot. The whole humiliating process while her belly stretched her dress tight. Other people in the holding area stared at her obvious pregnancy with surprise and pity. "One phone call," the officer said, leading her to a phone. With shaking fingers, she dialed Robert's number. It rang once, twice, 3 times before going to voicemail. "Robert, what have you done?" she whispered into the phone. "I'm at the police station. I'm in jail. Our baby, please just come get me. Tell them this is a mistake." But hours passed and Robert never came. Her mother and sister arrived, frantic and furious, but bail wouldn't be set until Monday morning. It was Saturday evening. 2 nights, the desk sergeant said without sympathy. "Judge doesn't work Sundays." They led Destiny to a cell, the reality of her situation crashing down. She was 7 months pregnant, and she was going to spend the weekend in jail because her husband had accused her of stealing their own money. Her cellmate, a woman named Brenda with knowing eyes, took one look at her belly and shook her head. "Let me guess. Your man put you here?" Destiny nodded, unable to speak through her tears. "Mine did the same thing 2 years ago," Brenda said. "Except I wasn't pregnant. Found out later he needed me out of the way for a weekend. Had his side chick coming to town." The words hit Destiny like ice water. She thought about Robert's recent behavior, working late, guards with his phone, less affectionate. But she'd attributed it all to stress about the baby coming. "No," she whispered. "Robert wouldn't." Brenda's laugh was bitter. "That's what we all say, honey. That's what we all say." The metal bunk was hard against Destiny's aching back. She hadn't slept at all, her baby kicking constantly as if sensing her distress. The jail uniform they'd given her barely stretched over her belly, and she had to leave it partially unzipped. Morning brought a breakfast of cold eggs and stale bread that made her nauseous. She forced herself to eat for the baby's sake, each bite feeling like sand in her mouth. "You need to keep your strength up," Brenda said, watching her struggle. "That baby doesn't care that you're in here." Destiny nodded, placing a protective hand over her belly. I just can't believe Robert did this. We've been married 4 years. This is our first child. How long has he been acting different? Brenda asked, sitting on her own bunk. Destiny thought back. Maybe 2 months? He said work was stressing him out. His company is restructuring. 2 months, Brenda repeated. That's usually when they meet someone new. Takes about that long for the guilt to turn into resentment toward us. A guard appeared at their cell. Washington, you have a visitor. Hope surged through Destiny. Maybe Robert had come to his senses. But it was Tiffany waiting in the visitor room, her face puffy from crying. I've been trying to reach Robert all night, Tiffany said through the glass partition. His phone goes straight to voicemail. I went by your house, his car's gone. Gone? Destiny's heart sank. The neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, said she saw him leave with a suitcase yesterday afternoon, right before the police came. Destiny felt the room spin. He'd planned this. He'd known exactly when the police would arrive at her baby shower for maximum humiliation. Mama's working on bail money, Tiffany continued. We'll have you out tomorrow morning, I promise. Patricia Coleman, that lawyer who helped cousin Denise, she's agreed to take your case. I need you to do something for me, Destiny said, her voice steadier than she felt. Go to the house. Check the credit card statements in Robert's desk drawer. Check everything. Tiffany nodded. Already on it. Angela's there now with her husband. They're documenting everything. After Tiffany left, Destiny was returned to her cell. The hours crawled by. Other women came and went, most for minor offenses. Each one looked at her pregnant belly with the same mixture of pity and anger. You shouldn't be here, one woman said bluntly. Whatever you did, they should have given you house arrest or something. I took money from my own bank account, Destiny said, the absurdity of it hitting her anew. My husband reported it as theft. The woman cursed colorfully. And they wonder why we don't trust the system. That night, Destiny developed cramping. Panic seized her as she called for the guard. I need a doctor, she gasped. Something's wrong with my baby. The medical check was basic at best. The nurse at least seemed concerned, checking her vitals and the baby's heartbeat. Stress, the nurse said quietly. You need to stay calm for your baby. I'm going to recommend immediate release on medical grounds, but it's Sunday. Nothing will happen until tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late, Destiny whispered. The nurse squeezed her hand. Your baby's heartbeat is strong. Just breathe, rest as much as you can. I'll check on you every few hours. True to her word, the nurse returned regularly. By Sunday night, the cramps had eased, but Destiny knew she couldn't take much more. Her baby needed her to be strong, to be somewhere safe. Brenda had been released Sunday afternoon, but before she left, she'd given Destiny advice that would prove invaluable. Document everything. Every pain, every moment of fear, every single thing they put you through. Make them pay for doing this to you while you're carrying a baby. Destiny borrowed a pencil and paper from another inmate and began writing. 3 days in jail while 7 months pregnant. Inadequate medical care. Emotional distress. False accusations. She wrote until her hand cramped, documenting every detail of her ordeal. Monday morning couldn't come fast enough. When the guard finally came to release her, Destiny could barely stand. She'd lost weight in just 3 days, her face gaunt with stress and lack of sleep. Tiffany and Pearl were waiting, both of them crying as they helped her walk out of the building. Never again, Pearl said fiercely. That man will never hurt you again. As they drove away from the jail, Destiny looked back once. 3 days had felt like 3 years. But something had changed inside her during those long hours. The scared, trusting wife who'd entered that place was gone. In her place was someone harder, someone who wouldn't be fooled again. Did you find anything at the house? She asked Tiffany. Her sister's face darkened. Oh, we found something all right. Robert's been busy. The house felt different when Destiny walked through the front door. Same furniture, same photos on the walls, but the warmth was gone. It was just walls and things now, no longer a home. Angela was waiting in the living room with a box of documents. Sit down, cousin. You need to see this. Destiny lowered herself onto the couch, her body still aching from the jail bunks. Tiffany brought her water and a sandwich, insisting she eat before they talked. The credit card statements first, Angela said, spreading papers on the coffee table. That $250 you supposedly stole? Look at this. She pointed to a charge from 3 days before Destiny's arrest. Marcello's Jewelers. $248. I never got any jewelry, Destiny said, confusion clear in her voice. We know. We called the store. They remembered Robert. He bought pearl earrings. Said they were a gift for someone special. The words hung in the air like poison. Destiny grabbed the statement, studying it with the focus of someone who'd done the household books for years. "There's more," she said, her finger tracking down the charges. "Restaurants I've never been to. Hotel charges when he was supposedly at a conference in Houston." "That conference was in Dallas," Pearl said grimly. "I remembered because you wanted to go with him but couldn't get off work." Tiffany pulled out her phone. "Mrs. Patterson next door has been very helpful. She's seen a woman coming by when you're at work. Silver Honda Civic, arrives around lunch, leaves before you get home." "Description?" Destiny asked, though her heart already knew. "Light-skinned, long weave, always dressed like she's going to a club instead of someone's house in the suburbs." Destiny closed her eyes. "Monica." "Who?" Angela leaned forward. "Monica Reeves. She works in Robert's department. I met her at the company Christmas party." She kept touching his arm when she laughed, but Robert said I was being paranoid. "Not paranoid," Angela said. "We found this in his desk. It was a receipt for a storage unit rental, dated 2 months ago. The same time frame when Robert had started acting strange." "He's been moving stuff out," Destiny said, the pieces falling into place. "Planning to leave." "But he wanted you gone first," Pearl said. "Needed you out of the way to finish whatever he was planning." Destiny stood up despite her exhaustion, moving to Robert's home office. The desktop computer was still there and she knew his password, or at least she knew what it used to be. It worked. He hadn't even bothered to change it. His email was open and there it was in his sent folder. Messages to Monica going back 3 months. The most recent one made her blood run cold. "Baby, just 1 more week and we can stop hiding. Dee will be out of the picture by Saturday, and I can file the papers while she's inside. By the time she gets out, everything will be done. The baby thing is unfortunate, but I never wanted it anyway." That was all her idea. Destiny printed the email, her hand steady despite the rage building inside her. She printed them all, every message, every "I love you," every plan they'd made while she was preparing for their baby. "He never wanted the baby," she whispered, hand going to her belly. "His loss," Tiffany said fiercely. "This baby will have more love from us than he could ever give." They spent the rest of the day gathering evidence. Bank records showing Robert had opened a separate account 3 months ago. Photographs from his social media that he thought he'd hidden, showing him and Monica at various locations. The storage unit receipt that probably contained things he'd already removed from the house. By evening they had a box full of ammunition. Patricia Coleman arrived at 7, a tall, formidable woman in her 50s with silver hair and sharp eyes. "I've reviewed the arrest report," she said without preamble. "This is one of the most egregious cases of spousal abuse I've seen, and I've seen plenty." "Abuse?" Destiny questioned. "He never hit me. Having you arrested while 7 months pregnant on false charges is abuse," Patricia said firmly. "Endangering your unborn child is abuse. Financial manipulation is abuse. We're going to nail him to the wall." She reviewed all the evidence they'd gathered, occasionally making approving noises. "This is excellent. The emails especially. He's admitted in writing that he planned this, that he never wanted the child, and that he was trying to get you out of the picture. Any prosecutor worth their salt will see this as conspiracy." "Conspiracy?" Pearl asked. "To file a false police report, to endanger a pregnant woman and her unborn child, to commit fraud. Your son-in-law is looking at potential jail time, not just a civil suit." Destiny felt a flutter of satisfaction. "Good. But first," Patricia continued, "we need to secure your immediate safety and financial security. Has he frozen any accounts?" Destiny checked her banking app. "The joint account is empty. He withdrew everything while I was in jail." "Document it. We'll add theft to his charges." "What about the house?" "Both our names are on it." "Then he can't sell it without you. I'll file an emergency order preventing him from entering the property." "Where is he now?" "We don't know. He's not answering anyone's calls." Patricia smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. "Oh, he'll surface. They always do when they think the coast is clear. When he does, we'll be ready." Patricia Coleman's office occupied the top floor of a downtown building, all glass and steel with a view of the city skyline. Destiny sat across from her, feeling small in the large leather chair despite her pregnant belly. "First things first," Patricia said, sliding a document across the desk. "This is a restraining order. Robert cannot come within 500 feet of you or your residence." Destiny signed without hesitation. "Now let's talk strategy." Patricia pulled up a presentation on her laptop. We're pursuing both criminal and civil charges. Criminal for the false police report and endangerment. Civil for emotional distress, false imprisonment, and defamation. Defamation? You were arrested at your baby shower in front of family and friends. Your reputation was damaged. We have video from your cousin Angela showing the arrest. It's been shared over 300 times on social media already. Destiny winced. She hadn't thought about the social media aspect. That's actually good for us, Patricia assured her. Public opinion matters. Robert humiliated you publicly, so we'll ensure everyone knows the truth. I just want him to pay for what he did, Destiny said quietly. He will. I've seen the bank records. He withdrew $16,000 from your joint savings while you were incarcerated. That's theft, plain and simple. 16,000? Destiny gasped. That was for the baby. Medical expenses, nursery furniture, everything. And now it's evidence of his malicious intent. He didn't just want you gone for a weekend, he wanted to leave you with nothing. Patricia's assistant knocked and entered. Ms. Coleman, I have the investigator's report you requested. Excellent timing. Patricia opened the file, scanning quickly. Well, Mr. Washington has been busy. She showed Destiny a series of photographs. Robert and Monica entering a hotel. Robert moving boxes into a storage unit. Robert and Monica at a car dealership, looking at vehicles together. When were these taken? Destiny asked. Yesterday. He's not hiding anymore, thinks he's won. There was something else in the file. A rental agreement for an apartment across town, dated a week ago. He signed a lease before having me arrested, Destiny said, the premeditation clear. With Monica Reeves as co-signer, Patricia noted. This just gets better and better for our case. She pulled out another document. I've also discovered something interesting about Mr. Washington's employment. Did you know his company has a morality clause? Destiny shook her head. Any employee in a management position who brings disrepute to the company can be terminated. Having his pregnant wife falsely arrested certainly qualifies. I don't want to ruin his life, Destiny said, then caught herself. Actually, yes I do. Patricia smiled approvingly. That's the spirit. Now, I've scheduled a meeting with the district attorney tomorrow. Given that you were 7 months pregnant and experienced medical distress while incarcerated, they're taking this very seriously. Could he really go to jail? It's possible. Filing a false police report is a misdemeanor, but endangering an unborn child elevates it. Add in the theft and fraud, and yes, Robert could face jail time. Destiny felt her baby kick as if in approval. What about Monica? She asked. She was part of this. If we can prove she knew about and participated in the plan, she could be charged as an accomplice. Those emails suggest she did. Patricia's phone buzzed. She looked at it and smiled. Speaking of Monica, my investigator just sent something interesting. She's married. What? Destiny stared at the lawyer. Separated but still legally married. Her husband lives in Fort Worth. I bet he'd be very interested to know what his wife has been up to. This is all so much, Destiny said, overwhelmed. Patricia's expression softened. I know. But remember, he started this war. We're just making sure you win it. What's next? We serve him with divorce papers. I've already drawn them up. You're seeking full custody, the house, alimony, and damages for emotional distress. Will I get all that? With the evidence we have? I'd be shocked if you didn't. Texas doesn't look kindly on men who endanger pregnant women. Destiny signed the divorce papers, her signature firm and decisive. Where do we serve him? She asked. Patricia's smile was predatory. At his office. Tomorrow at noon, when all his colleagues will be returning from lunch. Maximum witnesses. That seems cruel, Destiny said, then remembered her 3 nights in jail. Perfect. Do it. There's one more thing, Patricia said. The local news station contacted me. They want to interview you about your experience. It's your choice, but public pressure can be powerful. Destiny thought about other pregnant women who might face similar situations. I'll do it. Good. We'll prep you first, make sure you're ready. Now go home and rest. Tomorrow, Robert Washington's world starts falling apart. As Destiny left the office, she felt something she hadn't experienced in days. Hope. She wasn't just going to survive this. She was going to thrive. The private investigator Patricia hired was named Jerome Butler, a former cop with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. He sat in Destiny's living room, laptop open, showing her weeks of surveillance. Your husband wasn't as clever as he thought, Jerome said, clicking through files. He used his company credit card for several meetings with Ms. Reeves. Company card? Destiny leaned forward, careful of her belly. Dinners, hotels, even a weekend trip to Austin. All expensed to the company as client meetings. That's fraud. Each photo was time-stamped. Robert and Monica at an expensive steakhouse while Destiny was home with morning sickness. Robert and Monica shopping for furniture while Destiny was at a prenatal appointment. The betrayal was documented in high definition. This one's interesting, Jerome said, pulling up a video. This is from 2 weeks before your arrest. The grainy security footage showed Robert at a bank withdrawing cash. The timestamp showed 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. He told me he was in meetings all day, Destiny said quietly. He made several large cash withdrawals over 3 weeks. Harder to trace than cards. Total of $8,000. Tiffany, who'd been quietly taking notes, suddenly spoke up. Can you check something? The day Destiny was arrested, where was Robert? Jerome pulled up more files. According to his phone's GPS, he was at Monica Reeves' apartment from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. The arrest was at 4, Destiny said, the cruelty hitting her again. He was with her while I was being handcuffed. There's more, Jerome said apologetically. I spoke to some of his co-workers. Discreetly. Monica's been telling people she's pregnant. The words hit Destiny like a physical blow. Tiffany immediately moved to her side, arms around her shoulders. Pregnant. Destiny whispered. About 2 months, according to office gossip. Which would mean she got pregnant while I was struggling with my pregnancy, Destiny finished. That's why he wanted me gone. Pearl, who'd been silent until now, stood up. That man is evil. Pure evil. It explains the urgency, Jerome said. He needed you out of the picture before Monica started showing. A divorce would take too long. So he had me arrested instead, Destiny said, anger replacing hurt. Thought I'd be so broken I'd just disappear. He underestimated you, Jerome said with admiration. Most people would have crumbled. You're building a case. Destiny's phone rang. It was Patricia. Turn on Channel 7, the lawyer said without preamble. The local news was running a segment on false arrests. Destiny's story was the lead, complete with the video from her baby shower. Local woman Destiny Washington was 7 months pregnant when police arrested her at her own baby shower, the anchor said. Her crime? Taking money from a joint bank account she shared with her husband. Now questions are being raised about why prosecutors pursued such a case. The segment included interviews with legal experts, all condemning the arrest. One called it a shocking abuse of the justice system. Robert's boss just called me, Patricia said through the phone. They're opening an internal investigation into his expense account. Seems your story made them look closer at their star employee. After the call, Jerome continued his presentation. I've also been investigating Monica Reeves. She's got a history. What kind of history? Tiffany asked. 2 previous relationships with married men. Both ended when the wives found out. One of them pressed charges for alienation of affection. Can we contact them? Destiny asked. Already did. Both are willing to testify about her pattern of behavior. One of them, Sandra Mitchell, says Monica actually bragged about knowing how to get rid of wives. Destiny felt sick. This was all planned. From the beginning, Jerome confirmed. But they made mistakes. Lots of them. He showed them Monica's social media. She'd been careless, posting photos from dates with Robert, though he was carefully cropped out. But in one photo, his reflection was visible in a wine glass. She also posted this 3 days ago, Jerome said, showing a status update. Sometimes you have to remove obstacles to get what you deserve. #winning #new beginnings. The audacity, Pearl muttered. It's evidence, Jerome corrected. She's admitting to removing obstacles. Given the timing, any jury would connect that to Destiny's arrest. Angela arrived with food in her laptop. I've been coordinating with the social media campaign. The hashtag Justice for Destiny is trending locally. Over 10,000 shares of the arrest video. Is that good? Destiny asked. It's very good. Robert's company is getting flooded with calls asking why they employ someone who'd endanger a pregnant woman. Their Facebook page is getting destroyed in the comments. Destiny's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She opened it carefully. You're a lying B*****H. Stop trying to ruin Robert's life. He's finally happy. Monica, she said, showing the others. Save it, Jerome said immediately. That's harassment. We'll add it to the file. Patricia texted that she needed one more piece of evidence. Can you get into Robert's home office computer again? I need his work emails. Destiny went to the office, logging into Robert's computer. His work email was still synced. There was emails between him and Monica on company time, using company email. Discussions of their relationship, their plans, even mentions of the pregnancy. He's done, Jerome said, reading over her shoulder. Using company resources for personal relationships is grounds for termination. Destiny forwarded everything to Patricia, then logged out. She was done with Robert's secrets. Soon everyone would know them. The process server Patricia hired was a young woman named Kayla who looked like she could be an intern. That was the point, Robert wouldn't see her coming. Destiny watched from her car across the street from Robert's office building, Tiffany beside her. It was 11:55 a.m. on Thursday, and employees were streaming back from lunch. There, Tiffany pointed. Robert walked confidently through the plaza, Monica beside him. They weren't even trying to hide anymore, her hand on his arm, both laughing at something on his phone. Kayla moved toward them, papers in hand. Robert Washington? Yes. He looked annoyed at the interruption. You've been served. She handed him the envelope and walked away quickly. Robert's face went from confused to pale as he opened the papers right there in the plaza. Monica peered over his shoulder, her expression shifting from curious to alarmed. Several of Robert's co-workers had stopped to watch, sensing drama. One was definitely recording on his phone. No, Robert said loudly, looking around wildly. She can't do this. That's when he spotted Destiny's car. Their eyes met across the distance, and Destiny didn't look away. She wanted him to see her, to know she was watching his world crumble. Robert started toward the car, but Monica grabbed his arm. They appeared to argue, Monica gesturing at the papers, Robert trying to pull away. Should we go? Tiffany asked. Not yet, Destiny said, watching as more co-workers gathered. A security guard approached Robert, probably alerted by the commotion. Robert was gesturing wildly, pointing at Destiny's car, but the guard seemed more concerned with calming him down. Then Robert's boss, Mr. Harrison, emerged from the building. Even from across the street, Destiny could see his stern expression as he took in the scene. Robert being restrained by Monica, papers scattered on the ground, employees recording everything. Mr. Harrison said something that made Robert go still. Then he pointed back at the building. Robert picked up the papers and followed him inside, Monica trailing behind uncertainly. Now we can go, Destiny said, starting the car. 20 minutes later, Patricia called. Robert's been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Apparently, his scene in the plaza was the last straw after the expense account audit. What about Monica? Also suspended. Turns out she's been falsifying her timesheets, claiming overtime while she was with Robert. That evening, Destiny got a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Destiny? This is Caroline Harrison, Robert's boss's wife. Destiny was surprised. She'd met Caroline a few times at company events. I wanted you to know that I'm disgusted by what Robert did, Caroline said. And I wanted to tell you that my husband has recommended termination. A man who would endanger his pregnant wife has no place in our company. Thank you, Destiny managed. I also wanted you to know that Monica's been escorted from the building. Security found personal items in Robert's office, suggesting they'd been using it for non-work activities. After the call, Destiny felt a weight lifting. Robert's carefully constructed world was falling apart, just as he tried to destroy hers. That night, Robert called 15 times. Destiny didn't answer. He left increasingly desperate voicemails. Destiny, please, we need to talk. This is going too far. Call off your lawyer. You're going to ruin both our lives. Think about the baby. The last one made her angry enough to text back. You didn't think about the baby when you had me arrested. His response was immediate. That was a mistake. Monica said. So Monica had been involved in planning her arrest. Destiny screenshot the text and sent it to Patricia. The next morning, Monica showed up at the house. Destiny watched through the security camera as she pounded on the door. I know you're in there. Monica shouted. You've ruined everything. He was going to leave you anyway. Tiffany called the police while Destiny recorded everything on her phone. You think you've won? Monica continued. I'm pregnant with his baby. He'll always be connected to me. When the police arrived, Monica was still ranting. They arrested her for violating the restraining order that included agents acting on Robert's behalf. As the police car drove away with Monica in the back, Destiny felt satisfaction but not joy. She was 8 months pregnant now, exhausted from the stress, but determined to see this through. Patricia called that afternoon. Robert's been terminated. Monica too. My sources say they're both being blacklisted in the industry. Good, Destiny said, meaning it. The criminal charges have been filed. The DA is confident about prosecution. Robert's looking at possible jail time, Destiny. After what he put me through. I hope he gets it. There's one more thing. Monica's husband contacted me. He wants to thank you for exposing her affair. Apparently this helps his divorce case immensely. Small victories, Destiny thought. She was taking everything from Robert, just as he tried to take everything from her. 3 weeks had passed since the divorce papers were served. Destiny was now heavily pregnant, due in just a few weeks, but she wasn't slowing down. If anything, she was more determined than ever. The criminal case was moving forward. Robert had hired a lawyer, an expensive one, which Patricia found amusing. He's spending his last savings on legal fees, she told Destiny during their meeting. Meanwhile, we have him dead to rights. The news coverage had exploded beyond local media. A national morning show wanted to interview Destiny about her experience. She agreed, knowing the more public pressure, the better. The interview was powerful. Destiny, visibly pregnant, calmly explained how her husband had orchestrated her arrest while she was 7 months pregnant, all to be with another woman. He knew the police would come during my baby shower, she said to the host. He wanted maximum humiliation. The host was visibly appalled. And you spent 3 days in jail? 3 days. I experienced cramping. I thought I might lose my baby. Meanwhile, he was with his mistress, spending the money he'd stolen from our accounts. The interview went viral. Within hours, it had millions of views. Robert's name was trending on social media, and not in a good way. That afternoon, Robert's lawyer contacted Patricia. My client wants to negotiate. Negotiate what? Patricia laughed. He has nothing to negotiate with. He's willing to give Ms. Washington the house and primary custody if she drops the criminal charges. Things he's already going to lose? No deal. Destiny was at home when Robert showed up, despite the restraining order. She saw him on the security camera looking haggard. He'd lost weight, his usually perfect appearance disheveled. She called 911 immediately. Destiny, please? Robert shouted at the door. I've lost everything. My job, my reputation. Monica left me. Monica left him? That was news. She was only with me for the money. Robert continued. When she found out I was broke, she went back to her husband. Destiny recorded everything on her phone. This would be useful for court. I'm sorry. Robert was actually crying now. I made a mistake. Please don't let them send me to jail. The police arrived quickly, arresting Robert for violating the restraining order. As they led him away, he looked back at the house with genuine despair. Angela, who'd been staying with Destiny, shook her head. The nerve of him playing victim. That evening, Patricia called with interesting news. Monica's been arrested. Her husband provided evidence that she's done this before, broken up marriages for money. He's been tracking her activities for years. So I wasn't the first? You were the third. But you're the first to fight back effectively. The other wives just divorced quietly and disappeared. Destiny felt proud of that distinction. A week later, at the preliminary hearing for the criminal case, Destiny saw Robert for the first time since his arrest at her house. He looked terrible, gray, thin, defeated. Monica was there too with her own lawyer. She kept shooting angry looks at Robert, clearly blaming him for her predicament. The prosecutor laid out the evidence. The premeditated false police report, the endangerment of a pregnant woman, the theft of marital assets, the conspiracy between Robert and Monica. When the judge reviewed the evidence, particularly the emails and texts between Robert and Monica planning Destiny's arrest, his expression was stern. Mr. Washington, the judge said, I've seen many cases of domestic disputes, but deliberately having your 7 months pregnant wife arrested on false charges is one of the most callous acts I've encountered. Robert's lawyer tried to argue that it was a misunderstanding, that Robert genuinely believed Destiny had taken money without permission. The prosecutor destroyed that argument with Robert's own emails admitting he knew it was their joint money and that he needed her out of the picture. Trial is set for next month, the judge announced. Mr. Washington, you're released on bail with the condition that you maintain distance from Ms. Washington and make no attempt to contact her. After court, Destiny's water broke. The timing was surreal, from courtroom to delivery room. 12 hours later, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her Grace. Robert wasn't there, of course. But Pearl, Tiffany, Angela, and even Patricia, who'd become more than just a lawyer, were. The room was full of love and support. Meanwhile, across town, Robert sat alone in his cheap apartment, the one he'd rented with Monica. She'd moved out the day after losing her job, leaving him with a lease he couldn't afford. He'd learn about his daughter's birth from social media, where Destiny's supporters celebrated the arrival of baby Grace with joy and relief that she was healthy despite all the stress. The criminal trial began when Grace was 6 weeks old. Destiny entered the courtroom carrying her daughter, a powerful image that wasn't lost on the jury. Robert's lawyer had advised him to plead guilty to lesser charges, but his arrogance wouldn't allow it. He insisted on fighting, certain he could convince a jury that this was all a misunderstanding. That was his biggest mistake. The prosecutor, ADA James Mitchell, was thorough and ruthless. He presented the timeline with precision. Robert opening secret bank accounts, beginning his affair with Monica, planning the arrest, and stealing marital assets while Destiny was in jail. This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment, Mitchell told the jury. This was a calculated campaign to destroy his pregnant wife's life so he could start over with his mistress. The evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, emails, text messages, security footage, and witness testimony painted a clear picture of conspiracy. When Monica took the stand as a witness for the prosecution, she'd made a deal for lighter charges. She threw Robert completely under the bus. It was all his idea, she said, not meeting Robert's furious gaze. He said his wife was crazy, that she'd stolen money before. I believed him. The prosecutor presented evidence that Monica had known exactly what was happening, but the jury was more interested in Robert's culpability. When Destiny testified, she was calm and dignified. She described the humiliation of being arrested at her baby shower, the fear during those 3 nights in jail, the medical distress that could have cost Grace's life. I kept thinking I was going to lose my baby, she said, tears flowing. All because my husband wanted to be with someone else and didn't have the decency to ask for a divorce. Several jury members were visibly moved. One woman was crying. Robert's testimony was a disaster. He came across as arrogant and unrepentant, trying to justify his actions by claiming Destiny was controlling with money. So your solution was to have your pregnant wife arrested? The prosecutor asked. I didn't think she'd actually be kept in jail, Robert said. You didn't think or you didn't care? Robert had no good answer. Character witnesses for Destiny included her doctor, who testified about the risk the stress had posed to her pregnancy, and the jail nurse, who described Destiny's medical distress during incarceration. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours. Guilty on all counts, the foreman announced. Robert's face went white. His lawyer patted his shoulder, but it was over. At sentencing 2 weeks later, the judge didn't hold back. Mr. Washington, you showed a callous disregard not only for your wife but for your unborn child. Your actions could have resulted in tragedy. The fact that Ms. Washington delivered a healthy baby is despite your actions, not because you showed any mercy. Robert was sentenced to 18 months in prison, 3 years probation, and ordered to pay $100,000 in restitution. As court officers led Robert away in handcuffs, he looked back at Destiny holding Grace. For a moment their eyes met. Destiny felt no sympathy, only relief that justice had been served. Monica received 6 months probation and community service. Her husband divorced her and she left town shortly after. The civil case was settled quickly after the criminal conviction. Destiny got the house, full custody of Grace, substantial alimony, and a large settlement for emotional distress. You've won everything, Patricia told her over champagne, sparkling juice for Destiny, who was breastfeeding. Not everything, Destiny corrected. I lost my ability to trust. But I gained something better, my freedom and self-respect. The news covered Robert's sentencing extensively. His fall from grace was complete, from successful executive to convicted felon. His former colleagues were interviewed, most expressing shock but also saying there had been signs of his arrogance and entitlement. He always thought rules didn't apply to him, one said. Meanwhile, Destiny focused on healing and raising Grace. The baby was thriving, a happy child who would never know the drama surrounding her birth. Support poured in from across the country. Women who'd experienced similar betrayals reached out with their stories. Destiny realized she'd become a symbol of fighting back against domestic abuse. You gave us hope, one woman wrote. You showed us we don't have to accept being victims. 1 year later, Destiny stood in front of a room full of people at the Small Business Development Center. Grace, now 14 months old, played quietly in her playpen in the corner. Starting your own business after trauma might seem impossible, Destiny said to the audience. but I'm proof that your worst moment can become your launching pad. She'd used the settlement money to start her own accounting firm, specializing in helping women manage finances during and after divorce. Business was booming. Her first client had been Sandra Mitchell, one of Monica's previous victims. Word spread quickly, and soon Destiny had more clients than she could handle alone. She hired 2 employees, a young accountant named Jasmine and a paralegal named Brittany who'd also been through a nasty divorce. We're not just managing money, Destiny told them during their first team meeting. We're helping women reclaim their financial power. The office was in a renovated building downtown, bright and welcoming with a play area for clients' children. Destiny had insisted on that. She knew how hard it was to handle business with a baby. Robert was still in prison. She'd heard through the legal grapevine that he was having a hard time. Former white-collar executives didn't do well in jail, especially ones convicted of endangering pregnant women. Destiny didn't care about his struggles. She'd stopped thinking about Robert months ago, except when legal matters required it. Grace was walking now, a beautiful toddler with Destiny's eyes and smile. She had no father on her birth certificate. Destiny had successfully petitioned to have Robert's parental rights terminated due to his criminal conviction and endangerment. Mama? Grace called from her playpen, holding up a toy. Yes, baby, Destiny smiled, continuing her presentation. That's beautiful. After the seminar, a woman approached her. Ms. Washington, I'm going through something similar. My husband had me arrested on false charges. I'm scared. Destiny handed her a business card. Call my office. We'll help you get your finances separated safely. And here's Patricia Coleman's card. She's the best lawyer in town for these cases. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. This happened often. Destiny had become a resource, a beacon for women in crisis. Tiffany had started a nonprofit organization called Freedom After False Charges, with Destiny as the main sponsor. They'd helped dozens of women in similar situations. On weekends, Destiny and Grace visited Pearl, who'd become the ultimate grandmother. The house was always full of family, love, and laughter, everything Robert had tried to steal from them. One Saturday, while at the park with Grace, Destiny ran into Mrs. Patterson, her old neighbor. Destiny, you look wonderful, the elderly woman exclaimed. And Grace is getting so big. Thank you. How have you been? Good. Did you hear? They're finally selling that storage unit Robert rented. Apparently, he never paid after going to prison, and they're auctioning the contents. Destiny felt mild curiosity. Really? My nephew works there. Says it's mostly expensive suits and electronics. Things he thought he'd need for his new life. Instead, those suits were rotting in storage while Robert wore orange. Poetic justice. That evening, Patricia called with news. Robert's requesting early release for good behavior. Can he get it? Possibly. But he'll still be a felon, still owe restitution, and still have no rights to Grace. Let him out, Destiny said. He has nothing to come back to. And it was true. Robert's life as he'd known it was over. His career, reputation, relationships, all destroyed by his own cruelty. Meanwhile, Destiny's life was flourishing. Her business had grown enough to move to a larger office. She'd been featured in a national magazine as one of 40 under 40 entrepreneurs to watch. The article mentioned her story briefly, focusing more on her business acumen and success. That's what she wanted, to be known for her achievements, not just her trauma. Grace was enrolled in an excellent daycare, thriving and happy. She had aunts in Tiffany and Angela, a grandmother in Pearl, and a village of support. Sometimes Destiny thought about dating again, but she wasn't ready. Trust would take time to rebuild. For now, she was content with her daughter, her business, and her freedom. 2 years after the trial, Destiny stood in her new office building. She'd just closed on the property, a beautiful 3-story structure that would house her expanded firm. Washington Financial Services, the sign read. She employed 15 people now, all women who'd faced financial abuse or abandonment. Grace, now 3, was at preschool, a bright and confident child who knew she was loved. She'd never once asked about her father. Her world was complete with the family she had. The local news was there to cover the grand opening. The reporter asked, Ms. Washington, how does it feel to have come so far from that difficult time? Every challenge was a lesson, Destiny replied. I learned my strength, my worth, and my capability. I wouldn't change anything because it led me here. What she didn't mention was who she'd seen that morning. She'd been getting coffee at her usual spot when Robert walked in. He'd been out for 6 months, according to Patricia. He looked older, grayer, diminished. He'd seen her too, freezing in the doorway. Destiny had simply turned back to the barista, collected her coffee, and walked past him without acknowledgement. She'd heard he was working at a call center, the only job he could get with a felony conviction. Monica had married her ex-husband again and moved to California. They destroyed each other's lives for nothing. At the grand opening, someone special arrived, Jerome Butler, the private investigator who'd helped build her case. But he wasn't there professionally. Over the past year, they'd developed a friendship that had slowly grown into something more. Jerome had been patient, understanding that Destiny needed time. "Congratulations," he said, handing her flowers. "You deserve all of this." Grace ran to him. Uncle Jerome. He'd become a fixture in their lives, never pushing, just being present and supportive. He was everything Robert hadn't been, honest, kind, and genuinely happy for Destiny's success. "Would you like to have dinner with us tonight?" Destiny asked. "To celebrate?" "I'd love that," Jerome smiled. Pearl, watching from across the room, nodded approvingly. She'd been skeptical at first, but Jerome had won her over with his consistency and respect for Destiny's boundaries. That evening, the news ran a special segment on successful female entrepreneurs. Destiny's story was featured prominently, but the focus was on her business achievements, not her past trauma. The reporter mentioned briefly that she'd overcome personal challenges to build her empire, but the emphasis was on her innovative business model and commitment to helping other women. As Destiny watched the segment at home, Grace curled up beside her and Jerome sitting nearby, she felt complete. This was success, not just the money or the business but the peace, the family, the freedom. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She almost deleted it, then recognized the area code. It was from the prison. "Destiny, I know you hate me, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I see Grace on your company website. She's beautiful. I destroyed everything for nothing. Monica played me and I fell for it. You were the best thing in my life and I threw it away. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know that I know what I lost. Robert." Destiny read it once, then deleted it. Robert's regret meant nothing to her now. "Everything okay?" Jerome asked, noticing her expression. "Everything's perfect," she said, meaning it. Later, as she tucked Grace into bed, her daughter asked, "Mama, are you happy?" "Yes, baby. Happier than I've ever been." And it was true. The woman who'd been arrested at her baby shower, humiliated and betrayed, was gone. In her place stood a successful businesswoman, a loving mother, and a survivor who'd turned pain into power. The next morning's newspaper featured her on the business page. Washington Financial Services expands, CEO credits success to helping others rise. The article mentioned that her firm had helped over 500 women secure financial independence. Each success story was a small revenge against those who thought women could be discarded and destroyed. Robert would have seen that article. He would have seen what Destiny had become without him, no, because of what he'd done to her. His cruelty had forged her into something stronger than she'd ever imagined she could be. But Destiny didn't think about Robert anymore. He was a footnote in her story, the villain who'd inadvertently created a hero. As she walked into her building that morning, employees greeting her warmly, Grace's laughter echoing from the office daycare, Jerome texting about weekend plans, Destiny smiled. This was her revenge, not just surviving but thriving. Not just rebuilding but creating something bigger and better than what she'd lost. Robert had sent her to jail for $250. She'd built $1 million business from his betrayal. Now that was justice.